our imagination is creating this reality. I know it to be true because of my near-death experience. Consciousness itself creates form. So we're conditioned into believing that, okay, there's this objective universe made up of stuff, and that you're this separate body that moves around through the universe, cause and effect, a victim. Basically, the world happens to you every single day. So in the Bible they say, the natural man receiveth not the gifts from God. Well, if we just take the word God out of the equation, from a scientific point of view, that's the field. That's the unified field of information where all material, all matter comes from. So the quantum field gives birth to everything that you see here. Energy gives life to matter. Not, oh, there's physical stuff here in this universe and it has a field around it because it exists as solid stuff. The field is the sole governing agency of the particle, Albert Einstein. So from a religious point of view, you could call that God. From a spiritual point of view. But if we're just going to look at the science of it, there's a principle known as the observer effect, where they set up these experiments, and what they found was that everywhere they looked for the electron, it would appear. They found that the act of consciousness observing collapsed the field, collapsed the wave into a momentary phenomenon that we call particle. So it's called the observer effect. From thought into energy into matter. And that's how you manifest. That's how I've manifested my entire life and everything that I have in it now. So this is how crazy it is. So I thought, if what I teach is true, after my third eye opened, this is about 7 years ago now, then I should be able to like tangibly do something that's impossible. So I was out fishing in my boat, and the person I was with at the time, she threw the burley pot over the edge, but it wasn't wrapped. So the burley cage is like this metal cage, and it's got stinky stuff in it, and fish like to come up to it. But it wasn't tied onto the boat. So out in the ocean, right, and this metal object just floats to the bottom. So I went into meditation for the next 2 weeks and said, if thought creates matter, then I can get it. It's on the bottom of the ocean. This was during winter. We had crazy storms, wild storms and rain and lashing winds, everything. But I should be able to get it back. So 2 weeks later, I wake from this dream that I'm at the back of my boat and I'm reeling in my fishing line, and my tiny hook, my little hook, is hooked onto the rope that's connected to the burley pot, and I'm bringing it in, and I'm on the back left-hand side of the boat. And so I called a friend. I told 2 friends. I said, it comes back. I just dreamt that I'm getting the burley cage back, and I said, this is exactly how it's going to come back. It's going to be on the end of my fishing rod. So the next night I had the exact same dream. Like, I'm talking like 4K experience here. The exact same dream. Oh my God, it's come back. So that last day was the last day of the holiday. Heading out in the boat one last time, and at the end of the day, totally knackered, totally tired, just cast out one more time. And as I start reeling it in, I'm like, oh my God, I've got something on here. And see, when the field responds, for me anyway, I get like time dilation. There's this etheric thing that happens, and I know that something's about to take place. So I start reeling in my line, and sure enough, I'm standing at the back of my boat, and the tiny little fishing hook had hooked into the rope as I said it would, and I pulled in a metal object from out in the ocean. So I'll drop a link to that video so you can see it for yourself, because I don't expect you to believe me. Like, It's a very natural response to go, you're a liar, you're lying, that's cool, I don't care. I'll show you the video, we got it live happening. So thought creates all of this. Imagination is creating this reality. Consciousness is king. That's what Albert Einstein said. This is what quantum physics tells us. Consciousness is creating form. Okay, it's just backwards to your conditioning and to what we've all been told at school about how the world really works. But I know this to be true from being in a coma. From being in that space, that dimension where there is no time, where there's no ego, there's no identity. There was no Damien Horton. There was no past. I didn't exist, but I was consciousness itself. And to come back out of that experience from a week in a coma to then re-identify with Damien and solid things. And wait, where's my past? There's my past. What objects do I have? That's right, my job title, my name, the image in the mirror. But I couldn't even identify with this because I've had 4 different faces. I've got 44 pieces of metal in my face because they cut my face off and rebuilt it. That's another story. But once you hook into this, right, the natural man receiveth not gifts from God. When you live by faith and you live knowing that you're powerful beyond measure, and you stop running around trying to find the manifestation, you stop running around waiting for it to show up, you emulate the universal consciousness. You literally emulate that loving, infinite intelligence that's giving life to you. And you bring something into form, like the burley pot. When you remove you surrender the details. You got to get out of the expectation and just live in this. Just live in your heart. And so, yeah, I'm not trying to convince anyone. This is my world, my reality. This is how I live my life. I've got all the proof I need. And what I see most people struggling with that I teach about manifestation is they won't surrender the details. They run around in fear, because that's the hardest thing, to actually believe that you can bring about, that you happen to the universe, that you are creating your world. It's the hardest thing for us to believe in, because at school you were taught it's the other way around. Okay, but you've got to break that conditioning. If you want to be truly empowered and in the driver's seat and happen to the world from your imagination, from your thought, then you've got to surrender that old way of living. So what I want you to do is just pick something, pick an object, start small. Just go into meditation. Maybe it's like a little keychain, whatever, something small. Go into that space, and you need to the world of imagination is creating all of this. Just took me a freaking near-death experience to figure it out, right? And bring it into consciousness and hold it there, and then bring up the emotion congruent with knowing that you've just brought about an experience in your future, that you've manifested something from thought into energy, into matter, into something in your day. And then when you get feedback from the field, I want you to drop your comment below. Tell me what you've manifested. I want to hear about it, okay? And make sure you then go into gratitude. You got to go back then into the field, back in your meditation, and give thanks, because gratitude is the secret ingredient. It's your emotional power. That's why a lot of people struggle with manifesting. You got to get out of your analytical, okay, to be absent with the mind and present with the body. Get into your heart and tell me what you did. Tell me what you've come up with, because this is our true power. This is the real true self that I'm talking about here. So anyway, guys, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this content. Comment below, and from my heart to yours, as always, sending you light, sending you love. Peace.